Alright everybody, welcome to another week of Game Wisdom Live. This is going to be for August 3rd, 2017. I see El Gore already left a message in chat. Hopefully you guys can make that out. I'll make it a little bit bigger there. That should guarantee it. Yeah, it's been a very dark week with the games I've been playing. Between the indie game Suicide Guy and then Slime Rancher, which has turned out to be, I think, one of the most disturbing things I think we've ever seen on the Game Wisdom YouTube channel. A lot of serious undertones there. Hello, Master. Thanks for coming on. So, for those of you new, this is, of course, my live show where we talk industry topics and kind of give a wrap-up of the week. Normally, my guest co-host is Robert Leach. He's the owner, co-founder of Indie Voyage, as well as a Twitch streamer. Sadly, he is in the midst of moving right now. He's back, or he's in his new home, but they haven't hooked up the internet yet. Yes, I do, from the Slime Rancher streams. Hey, William, as well. Everyone's coming on. So, unfortunately, Rob couldn't make it this week, but he said that his internet should be hooked up by next Thursday, so we'll have to go through one more week of just me. But I do have some pretty decent announcements regarding what's going on with the channel, and to get some thoughts from you folks. But before we do that, I want to give a quick shout out to my friend Brian Rubin, owner of the channel and site Space Gamer Junkie, who just announced he is getting married. So, congratulations, Brian. And he's going to be, I think, taking a few months off at the moment. So, hopefully when he gets back, we can have him on for a talk. But let's get to some good news. I spoke to my friend who helped design the Game Wisdom site, and he managed to get me update some stock templates, which are going to go forward probably starting next week in terms of new thumbnail art and new art over on GameWisdom.com. This includes a new thing for the Critical Thoughts, Dissecting Designs, and Industry Insights. Oh, and the Perceptive Podcast, of course. And we actually have a new animated intro that's going to be going forward with the videos here on Game Wisdom. It's going to be an 8-second intro, but that will kind of be going forward instead of my stock, thank you for watching Game Wisdom kind of things that I do with the vlogs. So, while it may not seem like much, he's an actual art designer. He actually understands art, rather than me who just plays around in Photoshop when I have the free time. So, while it's going to be a little bit more work on my end, it should add up to a whole lot more professional looking thumbnails and art going forward. And of course, having the intro looks nice. I think it's like 8 seconds long, but it has, the Game Wisdom logo, a little sheen to it, and stuff like that. So, I have to do final preparations with it over the weekend, so I think probably by Monday I'm going to start rolling it out in terms of the new intro and the new thumbnail art as well. If you missed the announcements, a site, I think it was FeedSpot, announced that they voted Game Wisdom as 30 out of their top 50 game development blog sites. I don't know what I did for it, but apparently people are taking notice. Now, I'm also going to be appearing in some online magazine as well. I think it's called Unite. I sent over a bunch of information and stock images, so he's going to let me know when that goes up for me to take a look at. Thank you, El Gordo. Now, let's see, anything else that is happening? Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, by the way, in terms of podcasts, I believe tomorrow's podcast, oh my goodness, I need to work on tonight, along with doing all the art as well, is going to be I want to say this is the Dr. Decker cast, when I spoke with the creators from Diavecchi Studios. I promised that a few weeks ago, but it turned out that was the Bill Gardner podcast. I completely lost track. But in terms of what I just did today, I recorded a podcast I did with Chris Barassa of Red Hook Games and Darkest Dungeon fame. We caught up and we basically spent an hour talking everything Crimson Court related. How the design came about, what was the inspiration for those damn bloodsuckers, and all the crazy cosplaying that will probably happen as a result. He also shared with me what's going to happen, the entire breakdown of Darkest Dungeon 2. I'm just kidding on that one, but he did kind of talk a little bit about what they're planning next, which I can't tell you folks because it is private. But definitely looking forward to hearing more from Red Hook Games, especially see what else they're going to do with the Lovecraftian universe that they've set forward. We also talked about the development of the Flagellant as well as balance challenges with the Darkest Dungeon. And if you haven't seen it yet, both Chris and Tyler gave GDC presentations at last GDC that I'll see if I can find the links to, and I'll put those in the podcast when they go up, because they were very informative, especially Tyler's cast, where he talked about the whole blowback of the corpse mechanic, and now I feel bad about pointing it out in an article that I wrote about Darkest Dungeon a year ago. So you never know when these things will come back. But yeah, they're talking about there may be more DLC content for Darkest Dungeon. But here's one thing that I can reveal because he was more than happy to share. There will not be any more animated cutscenes for the Darkest Dungeon. We talked about the whole reason why, which I understand. It does kind of suck though, considering how great they were, but he said they were just so much work. Now, of course, with that said, I bet like in a week from now they'll put up a new cutscene just to mess with me there. Now, in terms of big games that are coming out, I know West of Loathing should be out. Let me pull up the date here. August 10th, yeah. I think we talked about that during the Slime Rancher podcast, or Slime Rancher stream the other night. And I'm still waiting to hear word as to when I can start streaming my copy of it, but we are in the middle of locking down a live stream with the creators of Kingdom of Loathing and by extension West of Loathing. If things go accordingly, that live stream will be on August 15th. I'm still waiting to hear confirmation in terms of the time. Once I do, I'll be more than happy to make an announcement video. Now, let me see. I'm waiting to hear back from my friend regarding one more stock image. Just a generic Game Wisdom one that I can put as an overlay over like any game spotlights. But it does look a whole lot nicer than what I have. And it's not going to be as flashy, but it will definitely be more professional looking, which I think is one thing that I've been trying to go for. Now, in terms of Patreon, as you know, with August starting, where I'm looking, of course, to raise more support for Game Wisdom. Unfortunately, XP backed out of the live presentation for the workshop just because he didn't want me to just do it all just for him. So I have a new $20 goal if you would like to join me for like a once a week like workshop or work stream. Kind of like a way of hanging out. Also, for those of you who are new, for donating at least $1 to the Patreon, you'll get access to the Game Wisdom Discord channel, which I'm going to try to keep up more often on a day-to-day basis, so you can stop in, say hi, we can talk design, and all that great stuff. Also, if you have any suggestions, again, for games to put as possible goals, different rewards, definitely let me know in the comments. Right now I have some goals up in terms of upgrading my setup here, specifically with getting a new webcam. This cam that I'm on right now is probably at least 10 to 12, maybe I think about 10 years old at this point. So I know I'm not using the latest and greatest and what all the young folks are using right now. But when we can hit those goals, it will mean I can hopefully earn a little bit of money to help support things and maybe upgrade along the way. Now, next month I'm going to be doing some presentations around here in the South Jersey area. Once I get the final confirmation from my contact, yeah, I know, I heard from XP. I got a message from him, I think it was like July 28th, July 29th, somewhere around those lines. Yeah, he hasn't been on. I guess it's good we finished off the Darkest Dungeon, though, so at least he could see that before he left. But once I get confirmation regarding the dates for the live presentations, I'll be sure to make a video about it. I've been so thirsty with all the talking I've been doing, I have not one, but 3 different drinks to my side right now. my mouth went completely dead during the Darkest Dungeon chat I did earlier as well. Now, what else going on with Game Wisdom? Like I said, we have the new thumbnail art. Let me know what you think of the intro video. If it's too long, I could cut like a second or two off of it. That shouldn't be too big of a deal. But I did get a few other games to spotlight coming up. Let me see. We did Galaxy of Pen and Paper already. Let's see. I'm trying to see. Oh yeah, I'll have a spotlight for the game Dark Side Detective up in a few days as well. Let me see. I've also got a copy for the game Tangle Deep. This is a roguelike, pixel art style roguelike that I got about a week or so ago that I need to sit down and actually dedicate some time to. I guess I could actually put that as a stream as well if people want to see that. I also got a press copy for this game called, if I can find it on my list, where are you? Here it is, Phantom Trigger, which is a, I'm not quite sure how to make of it. It feels like a isometric action game, but I don't know if there are roguelike elements to it or not. But I don't think there's any embargo on it, so I should be able to be free to stream or make some footage. Yeah, it looks like it's a story-based game, but with multiple endings. With the presentation regarding esports and speedrunning, my friend Josh got me in touch with a streamer by the name of, I think, Pooh Bear, who does Mario Maker runs and stuff like that. So I'm going to get some feedback from him regarding kind of like the lay of the land with speedrunning that I'll be using with my presentation in September. Now let me see what else is happening. Again, I get a good like 9 to 10 emails. A lot of them are just like marketing stuff. So I'm trying to see if I missed anything big. More information regarding Etrian Odyssey 5 that I'm excited about. Yeah, it'll be interesting what's going on with Tumbleweed. I'm going to be hopefully having a podcast with the developers of the Dark Side Detective. We had to reschedule, as well as I was going to talk to the creator of Immortal Planet. That was the, of course, oh, let me see, did things get minimized? 1 second. There we go. Just mixed up my windows there for a second. But I'm going to hopefully be talking to the lead designer of Immortal Planet. He also did the game Ronin, which I actually streamed, I think, on Twitch about a year and a half ago. We were all set to do something this week, but unfortunately things got busy for him. So I'm waiting to hear back regarding confirmation of a time there. Now, while we still have a few more minutes, I want to run by for you folks watching live right now. What would you like to see on the stream tonight? We could, of course, do more Slime Rancher. I could switch over to Neo. We could even look at Tangleweed, or let me see, or even something else that I have. Or I'm sorry, not Tangleweed, Tangle Deep. That's what it's called. But let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see about what we'll do after our little live chat today. Now, in terms of industry news, I started preparing my pitch for GDC, which I'm going to try and do something along the lines of talking tutorial design and kind of what elements should be in a great tutorial, what you should teach the player, what you should let them discover for themselves. I'm hoping that the public speaking that I've been doing will kind of help to give me that push. Well, let's see. Is there anything else going on in terms of game industry news to talk about? You may have noticed my little figure back there, which kind of leads into one thing that I want to talk about in a minute or so. You're going to be seeing another drink take that one's place in about 5 minutes at the rate I'm going. Oh yes, I just remembered something big that I want to talk about, because this took me as a pretty big shock. Let me pull this up on my end, but it's another example of a Kickstarter failure in the biggest sense. 1 second, I just need to grab the Kickstarter page so I can pull it up. Here it is. So, about a few years ago, there was a Kickstarter for this game, Unsung Story. This would be a tactical RPG from, I believe, they were going to have the designer who created the original Final Fantasy Tactics on the team. Let me see. Yeah, he did Final Fantasy Tactics, Vagrant Story, Final Fantasy 12 as well. And I don't know if he did... No, I don't think he did Tactics Ogre. But Yasumi Matsuno was a part of this team. And they did the Kickstarter and they earned I'm trying to pull it up as I'm trying to talk here. They pulled in $660,000 of their $600,000 pledge. So they definitely hit their goal. And the plan was to deliver the game in 2015. And apparently nothing happened. And it's been delayed. I'm looking at their Kickstarter page as I said, I'm trying to talk. So they did an update. There was almost a 9-month gap between updates of this game. They did one December 23rd, and then they didn't do one again until August 1st of this year. And I'm just flipping through here, and you can definitely tell. Here's a pro tip for developers watching. If you're doing a Kickstarter and after the fact you have very few updates on your project, people will take that as a sign that things are going bad. So keep people updated as to what's going on. But I'm flipping through the updates for this. So January 2014 was when it started. So 3 years and $660,000 later, and nothing's been delivered. And it was announced as of the 1st that not only has nothing been delivered, but basically the entire team that was responsible for developing this game in the first place has been scuttled. And instead, a company by the name of Little Orbit basically bought out the rights and now are going to attempt to finish this game. But there is one major catch. Apparently, they went so far past their original mark in terms of what they wanted to deliver that the CEO of Little Orbit said that what's there is unsalvageable. So basically what he's saying is that they're going to have to start completely from scratch to try and get this game out. Now obviously they're not going to, or they're going to give everyone who donated the copy of the game when it's done, but they don't have the money for refunds. So this is looking like it's going to be the next big Kickstarter video game based debacle. And there's probably a major story there as to what happened. Probably something along the lines of what went on with Mighty Number 9. But I think this is another one of those really big lessons that just because you're a big name in the game industry, it's different working in a studio or with a publisher backing you versus crowdfunding and, of course, having no, I guess, external judge or external people watching over your game. And you always run that risk of just going so far past, I'm trying to think, so far past the horizon that you lose sight of what your game is about. But from what they were saying, or what people were talking about, this was originally going to be a single-player tactical RPG. Then they were talking about putting multiplayer in. Then there's going to be a PvP version of the game, like what they did with the Banner Saga. And it just sounds like the whole thing went off the rails, and $660,000 got flushed down the drain, I guess, as the easy way of putting it. I don't think they drank the money, but I think they flushed it down the toilet. Doing, again, I don't know. But I remember being excited about this game when it was first announced, because I love those tactical style games. And unfortunately, I guess this is a good thing that I didn't donate any money towards it. But it doesn't sound like it's going to be... at least Too Dark got the game out, so they at least managed to pull something out of it. But I don't know what happened. Now, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, with Too Dark, They raised, I want to say, $37,000 United U.S. They did a European version of crowdfunding, but they were asking for, I think, 30. But it sounded like they needed a lot more money in order to finish funding or develop the game. I think they promised like another level that was never put in. And I think they had like a team of like 7 or 10 people living off of $37,000 for 2 years. So they definitely went way under in terms of what they were needing. And I mean, I would love to talk more about this, but it's kind of, this is definitely something that I would love to have a developer or someone to bounce off of, because there is a lot to digest here. Now, in terms of, one other thing that I saw, at least on a bright side, they released more footage of Mario plus Rabbids. Basically what I think a lot of people are calling MarioCom, that's coming out in August. And I heard this rumor, and I don't know it off the top of my head, but they're saying that the expansion for XCOM 2 is also coming out on the same day as the Mario game. August 29th, let's see. Because that would be pretty funny. Yep, they're both coming out on the same day. So, come the end of August, we're apparently going to be filled with tactical strategy games, or squad-based strategy games, I should say. So, that is not a bad problem for me by any stretch of the imagination. Now, let me check things out here. And one piece of news I wanted to talk about that I found interesting, and it has to do with our amiibo over here, was a recent announcement regarding the upcoming Metroid game that's coming out for I think the GBA. This is going to be the remake of Metroid 2. It was announced by, I think, Eurogamer or someone else that they're going to feature amiibo exclusive content that you can only get if you use the 4 different Metroid related amiibos. And let me pull this up here so I get the exact name. Here it is, Metroid Samus Returns. And I wanted to get your thoughts on this, whether you're watching this live or recorded, because I talked about one of the issues I had with the amiibos, and how it didn't seem like they were putting the content of the digital side worth it from the physical purchase. And what they're doing is, if you own that amiibo, the Zero Suit Samus, and then the 2 new ones that are coming out, they will unlock stuff like an art gallery mode, a harder mode, and bonus features in-game. Now, the downside, of course, is that each amiibo is going to cost about $12. So you're going to have to pay about $44 in order to get all, well, actually I should say about $46, $47 for it. Will I stream the XCOM 2 expansion? If my computer can handle it, I would love to do maybe a recorded play of it. I don't know if I can handle streaming and recording it at the same time, but I would definitely like to do some coverage of it. Yeah, Zebelark is saying about the amiibos. And that was the interesting thing. I talked about this in my video, that what I would have liked to have seen would have been more content that would be tied to the amiibos, but still have it be available for a secondary purchase. Basically, I either spend $12 for a figurine like this, or I get the figurine, or I spend the DLC money and get it that way. So basically, the amiibos go up in value by saying any DLC that would unlock with this, I get for free as long as I spend the money and acquire this one. But I think going the way of saying you must have this or you lose out on those features is not the way to go. Because it again runs into that issue of creating that limited quantity, which led to that whole amiibo black market or secondhand market during the first year. And I mean, I have quite a bit of amiibos behind me, which you can't see right now. Yeah, that's exactly what I said, and I agree with that. Like, make it, because if you do that way, the amiibos still retain quite a bit of value because, again, the quality of them is really nice, and then the DLC is more of a bonus. But if someone can't go out and buy them, they're not being punished. And as we've talked about before, when it comes to DLC or Kickstarter, any kind of exclusive content, you never want to lock anything that's game impacting behind a unavailable paywall. So again, an amiibo, a Kickstarter pledge, even if it's an exclusive pre-order from your site, because you will always have people wanting that content who can't get it. And I know, like, for myself with the Darkest Dungeon, like, I really wanted that Arbalest skin, but I didn't have the money at the time to pledge to the higher level. But again, you always have to manage just how much value you put on downloadable content or any kind of expansion stuff when it's not going to be 100% available for the future. I'm trying to see, yeah, so it has... Now it's also going to unlock stuff like additional energy tanks, and the Squid Metroid will basically give you a radar. So it sounds like it's going to be kind of like a cheat mode, like what they did with, like, when I played Dead Space, and they gave you exclusive pre-order costumes that gave you increased bonuses. Also had dinner about an hour ago that was very salty, so now I'm even thirstier than I was before. Now, in terms of anything else that I want to talk about, I'm trying to see. I'm almost done with my presentation on esports. I'm waiting on my friend Josh from PvP Live. He's going to give me another crash course in terms of the esports market that I'm going to put towards the presentation. It's turning out to be a lot bigger than I originally thought. I'm at about 40 slides in. So I think this may be my longest one that I'll have, but I haven't actually gotten to working on the speedrunning one, which I had to get done by the beginning of September. So there's going to be a lot of typing between now and September. I think my first presentation is the 12th or the 13th. I have it down on my calendar somewhere. I did prepare for those of you who don't know, I'm starting to write a rough draft for an ebook. And I think I've settled on the 20 games. It's basically going to be like a little guide as to 20 games you should study if you want to learn about interesting game design. So I think I got the 20 that I picked, and now it's just going to be a matter of writing out the draft and such. And it's not going to be like a huge book. I think maybe like 30, 40 pages. Like, I'm not going to make a $40 book that's going to come in hardcover leather-bound edition anytime soon. But it will be a nice way of tying it to the Patreon, tying it to when I do presentations. And if it works, I can, of course, come up with any number of different topics as well. But I need to do a whole lot of typing between now and the end of September to try and get all this stuff done. Now, as for games coming up on the channel, like I said, I will be looking at West of Loathing. We'll probably get back to Galaxy of Pen and Paper at some point. I heard that Patapon came out. I just don't have the money to purchase it at the moment. If I can get a press copy of that, that would be amazing, but I would love to make that maybe like a mini goal on the Patreon, because I would love to stream that game again, because I own the first two, or number 1, number 2 on the PSP from way back in the day. And they were probably two like the best games on the PSP, next to stuff like Metal Gear Acid, Monster Rancher, and of course the Persona games. Now, I guess one other question for you folks watching this, either live or recorded. I'm kind of curious regarding capture cards, because I know that's another popular way for people to stream console and 3DS stuff. Is there a popular capture card that I should take a look at in terms of maybe either trying to buy or make it as a future Patreon goal? That way, that would open up for more streaming of games and more content for everyone to enjoy. And if it allows me to stream Persona 5, at least the first part without getting any trouble, I would certainly be up for it. But I don't know too much about that stuff off the top of my head, so any help with that would be great. Let me see. just getting some random messages from people while I'm talking as well. But again, for you folks watching this live, do you have any suggestions for games to stream tonight? Because I think we'll wrap things up in the next few minutes. When it's just myself, I usually try to keep these to about 30 minutes. When I have a co-host, it's going to probably be like 40 minutes to an hour, give or take. But next week, Rob should be back on. Knock on wood that his internet comes back on, so we'll be able to have a far more livelier chat than just me sitting here talking to you. And once I get those dates announced regarding our next live stream, I'll be sure to let you know. I may be doing a live stream with my friend who designed the site, as well as he's a very big proponent or fan of VR and AR. So I want to talk to him kind of about the state of the VR market, especially after the Vive, the PlayStation VR, and all that other stuff has been out for some time. But unless anyone has any topics they want to bring up, I think we'll begin to wrap things up. I did get another press copy from this game, Community Inc. It's another Tiny Build published game. It's supposed to be a management sim that I haven't really had the chance to sit down and play, but I could also stream that, as well as Kingdoms and Castles. Now, of course, we can go back to Slime Rancher and see just how far and insane this game goes. And I'm just like trying to think of all the disturbing things we've seen, if it can get any worse. Hopefully no kids are watching our discussions on Slime Rancher, because I think we'll probably frighten them away. But I'm trying to think if there is anything else here. And if I can somehow ever get my hands on a Nintendo Switch, I would love to do that Mario Rabbids game. Now, in terms of next week's Dissecting Design, I have a few ideas in the back of my head. I know we talked about Overlord, Trine. I was thinking about doing a brief one on Shadows of Mordor, or even one of the Batman games. I really want to do one. I may do Shadows of Mordor if I can get around to, once again, installing that massive game, just to cover the Nemesis system. Because that is a really fascinating piece of game design that they were inspired by when they're doing the XCOM 2 expansion at the end of August. But and I saw that they finally, I know El Gordo, you pointed this out, they put out the story mode for The Long Dark, which I don't know if I'll get a chance to play that game because I suck so much at it. But, I don't know, maybe people want to see me wander around the frozen north and freeze, or fall to death, or get eaten by wolves, or anything like that. Let me know. But I think that's probably going to be enough talking for me for right now, and we need to get some games going tonight. So, I want to end things here. We'll get this sent over to YouTube. Oh yeah, one more update regarding Game Wisdom before I go. I made the poll about having the streams either be uncut and put up as one massive video, or cutting them up into smaller chunks. And before I go, I can quickly check that poll on Twitter as well. And where are you? Because I want to see if there's any more interest in this. Where are you? And it looks like most people are saying cut up. Well, we didn't get too many. I think we have the silent majority here on the Game Wisdom YouTube channel. But what I've already done is I've cut up our previous Slime Rancher live stream into 3 parts. I'll be posting parts 2 and 3 tomorrow. What I figure is we'll still keep to around the same 12 to 6 my time posting. So those videos will go probably around like 12:30 or 6:30 EST. And that way, if you miss the live stream, you can watch the videos, and they'll be cut up again into meaty videos, but not, 2.5 hour long ones for you to watch. So that will kind of be the way going forward. And again, let me know what you think about any of the changes or suggestions. Leave a comment, send me an email, and I'll take a look. But otherwise, we're running things here for this week's Game Wisdom Live. Thanks so much for watching. If you're new, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, I think I'll be taking a quick break, probably 20-30 minutes, and then we'll be trying a stream out. And I guess we could probably do some more Slime Rancher, and we'll see what happens. But anyway, thanks for watching. Check back for daily discussions on game design here, and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games. And we'll be doing weekly live shows like this Thursday night around usually 9 Eastern, especially when Rob gets back. And I will let you know when we have the next developer live stream all set up. But until then, have a great night, and I'll catch you all again real soon. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and come back around 10 Eastern for regular streaming. For a collection of my writings as well as weekly podcasts on game development, be sure to check out game-wisdom.com. Follow me on Twitter at GWBycer for updates throughout the day. And to help support everything that I do, you can find me on Patreon under GWBycer or Game Wisdom. Your donations can help to keep things running, and we hit some goals, it will mean more content for everyone to enjoy. So, thanks again for watching, and be sure to come back for daily discussions on game design on the Game Wisdom channel.